guys, welcome to this next episode of this podcast with
Yeah,
Jamie Chung and me.
sweet. Yeah, can't believe that's another week. Goes by
Yeah,
fast,
it
you
does
know?
go by fast,
Yeah,
especially when you're working every day and
yeah. When you're busy.
all the days. Yeah,
Yeah,
during the quarantine, all the
yeah.
days kind of just blend together.
Yeah, it
It
feels
feels
like,
like the year just started. Like, what
yeah,
happened to 2020?
yeah, just went. But yeah,
Yeah,
today we are gonna, I guess, cover a topic that, I think it's pretty interesting. I think people find it pretty interesting because it's like it's sort of like when you get a new toy, in my opinion. We're going to talk about like scripts and tools for animation and like what is your must-have scripts or tools for animation, Billy?
yeah. So like I know how to code a
Yeah,
little bit. So like all the tools that I need, I've written like over time. So if I've ever done something and I said, "Hey, I need a tool for this," like it would be really handy to have a tool for this. I've like tried to, just take that small amount of time to write the tool. And I think what helps is, um, every time you want to do something and you feel like, "Hey, I gotta do this quite often." What I always try to do is, like, rather than spend that manual time doing that task, I try to write the tool in the time that it would take me to do that task, so that whenever, like, yeah, so it's not like I'm spending additional time writing the tool. It's just that's how long it would have taken me to do the task, or like however long I know it will take in total
yeah,
to do the task, like over like multiple days or months. I
yeah.
try to spend that time writing the tool and then just make my life easy. But like the
Okay.
few that I have to have is like my space baking tools. So
Mm-hmm.
baking to like different spaces, world spaces, object space,
Mm-hmm.
and then um, snapping tools because I
Yeah.
do a lot of layout now. So it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty
Pretty useful.
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I use them almost on a daily, like snapping tools.
So, okay, for example, the space switching tool, did you create that yourself as well? Or did you like, I guess, download it online and then kind of modified it? Or what's the like, yeah, I guess what's like, do you ever download something and then modify the script? Or is it mostly you do it from scratch?
I think I do everything from scratch.
Yeah,
I know like everyone codes different. It's
yeah,
kind of like it's kind of like yeah, everyone's got their own flair and their own style, their own preferences, how to code,
yeah,
the way to name things. So
yeah,
I'm like very OCD when it comes to that. And then, a stubborn part of me just wants to like write it my way, to do it
yeah,
like the way that I think is best. And
yeah,
everyone has different, like, some people care more about the styling, some
yeah,
people don't. I think I'm one that like cares a lot about the style of the code, how it looks,
yeah,
how it flows, and just like um yeah, just trying to make it efficient and make it like elegant. There's always like this elegant way to write code. And when you write code in a really elegant way, it's super satisfying.
yeah.
Um so yeah, like I always just write everything from scratch.
You
And
sound like
if
a
I
coding
need
snob.
I am a coding snob. I'm not gonna lie, I'm totally
Yeah,
a coding snob.
yeah,
Um but I'm not like
yeah,
super advanced and
yeah,
whatnot. But I think I'm advanced enough now where I
yeah,
think when I look at other people's code, I'm like, I think there's ways that I would write it that would improve the code.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Like for layout, like the snapping tool, why is it so important in what you do every
yeah,
day right now?
so like there's a there's like a new thing, like a new kid on the block, even though it's kind of been around for a while, which
Mhm.
is like USD, Universal Scene Description from Pixar. And that's kind of what like ties layouts together now at Luma.
Mhm.
We kind of use USD in the back end for everything, where we add
Mhm.
all our assets, we kind of apply all our transforms on the assets, like
Mhm.
buildings and things, to move them into place. We use
Yeah.
USD for that. And the thing about USD is it's it's kind of like its own data set, separate
Okay.
from the applications, like the way application deals with the internal data. So like if I create an object in Maya, it doesn't actually exist in USD. You have to export that into USD.
Okay.
So like long story short, like to get the two datas to marry, I have to do a lot of snapping sometimes. So sometimes I'll
Mhm.
bring in assets from Maya
Mhm.
and then I'll snap it to assets that like live inside a USD. So I can still interact with the
Okay.
USD data, but they kind of live in their two separate worlds. Like the data is
Okay.
stored in different areas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I use that for a lot of snapping. So I snap
Yeah.
like one building to another. I'll snap like um, assets to characters,
Yeah.
things like that. So it's super handy.
Okay.
And just like I don't know, snapping in general just makes me move around the viewport quicker. So even if
Yeah.
I'm doing like small things, like if I'm rigging, if I'm animating, being able to
Mhm.
select something and just snap something else to it, and then like move it from there and adjust it is like
Yeah.
super handy. So
Okay.
I think yeah,
Like the snapping tool, how would that help like someone who wants to animate a character?
it would be really helpful for like moving objects to like parts of the rig. So like if you want to animate a character, holding a cup,
Yeah.
and then you bring in your cup rig from the origin.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times you go to the origin, you grab it, and then you move back to your character, and you
Hmm.
get his hand, and you kind of like you snap it to a vertex or
Hmm.
something.
Yeah.
And then vertex snapping is like pretty slow inside of Maya. It takes a while
Yeah.
to calculate. And
Yeah.
then I think if you're someone like me and you want like everything like real time, super quick,
Hmm.
like that's when you kind of bring out a snapping tool. You store the
Yeah.
position of the hand control,
Yeah.
and then you just like in the outliner or wherever you select your rig,
Hmm.
select the top control and just snap to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so I think it helps like speed up workflow. It's not
Yeah.
like something you need, but I think when you get used to having a snapping tool, it's like really painful to go back to not having one.
I was animating props and having to select everything and move it around individually takes such a long time. And, on the bigger scheme of things, of like, yeah, it's not too bad. But, you know, how long it takes for you to drag instead of snap one prop propagates over several props, right? And then you
Yeah,
end up spending like whole day just like putting it in the final position. Yeah, I
it's
just,
like yeah, super tedious, and I
oof,
think
yeah,
and it doesn't sound like that big of a deal. Like, oh, you're just moving a few
yeah,
props around, but
yeah,
it can get like super tedious. And
yeah,
especially if you like a handy one is snapping rotations, I think.
mhm,
So like um you'd never want to have to like manually rotate something to align to something else.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
so much quicker just to snap it. Like even if it's like oriented incorrectly, but it's like at least it's still aligned. You can
yeah,
you
yeah,
can just like rotate it properly, or use like
yeah,
you can like add like 90 degrees onto
yeah,
the rotations or
to
whatever,
fix it.
to
Yeah,
get it
yeah,
to
yeah,
orient correctly. But I think aligning things is like what takes a long time. So
yeah,
just having like the ability to like
yeah,
align perfectly straight away,
yeah.
it's such
That's
a
good. Yeah,
it's understated. So
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Thanks for watching or listening to our content. If you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks again. Peace.